Okay. So you're going to go see 275 expireds at the door. Now, why do I say at the door? Well, there's a group of agents. Okay, first of all, let's back up. Okay, but between us, the video won't hear this. Real estate agents are lazy. Okay? Real estate agents, average real estate agents, are lazy. So they take the path of least resistance. Working happens with expireds. So what they do is they get a list, or they pull it from the MLS, and they don't go see the expired. What do? They call the expired, because you can do that from the ease of your home or the ease of the office. So you call these expireds. Well, what happens is when you do that, you have a large group of agents that are calling. So it can get, who calls expireds in here? Any of you? Okay. So what happens is, on any given day, agents are calling expireds. You could probably get anywhere from a client, a listing, a seller, could get anywhere from 20 to 50 phone calls on expired. Okay? Phone calls. They're pretty beat up, and they're pretty upset, and they don't want to hear you. Now, unless you're one of the first ones to get in there, or you're amazingly good on the telephone, you're going to end up not doing well with this. Okay? So what I suggest is you go see them. You go from competing with 30 to 40 agents calling to 4 or 5 showing up at the front door. Now, you would think my staff would be doing this, right? They don't. Okay? 10 of them do. The rest of them don't. And, well, that's a different part of the discussion. We'll do that later. 275. So you're going to go see at the door 275 expireds. Now, we know that 30% of those people will be home. That's just statistical fact. 30% of the people are home at any given time, whether it's 9 in the morning or it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You're going to find between 28 and 32% of the people home. So 30% is 82 contacts. You're going to talk to, over the next 55 work days, 82 people. Now, let me ask you a question. If you had practiced some of your scripting and you knew a little bit of what's going on in the marketplace, and you went to see 275 houses, so you actually went and knocked on 275 doors, but you only talked to 82 people, how many appointments do you think you might be able to create if you were like an okay agent? 8. Sorry? 10%. To 10%. Okay, so we can use that. So if I created 8 appointments, out of 8 appointments, I'm a pretty good listing agent. How many will I list?
2.
That's a very good real estate agent. I'm only a pretty good. But I want to let's you. Could it would be fair? Would say 4? Could we talk 4? All right. Is that a number we could live with? Okay. 4. So 8 appointments, 4 listings taken, 2 sell. Okay? It's a tough market. Things are a little crazy. I couldn't get them priced exactly where I wanted them, et cetera, et cetera. So 2 sell. Okay? So you guys with me on that? Mm-hmm. All right. So let me just, can I borrow this just for 1 second? So I have 2 there. Okay, now let's talk about previewing property. In order to be a great listing agent, there's a few elements that need to be involved. One of them is product knowledge. You have to know what's going on in the marketplace on the listings that are in the town that you're going to list. So you've got to preview property. One of the things that most real estate agents seem to never do is preview property unless you're a great real estate agent. If you talk to the Mark and Al's of the world, you talk to the Marty Rodriguez's of the world, you talk to the Scalios of the world, you talk to Brian, Sorry, Ryan's last name. These are people that do 50, 70, 100, 200 transactions a year. They preview property. They still do. In fact, I heard Marty on a tape the other day. She still previews property. She was a caravan captain for 15 years, where she led the caravan to make sure that she would preview property. Every top agent knows the inventory. When they go on a listing appointment and the client and they start talking about the listings and they start saying this listing, this listing, this listing, they've already seen those properties. I wrote down here, you need to preview 5 houses a day, 5 days a week for the next 55 days. That's another 275 properties you're going to go see. Okay? Now, let me ask you a question. You guys have previewed property before and shown property before, right? Please say yes. Okay, good. Let's communicate. Okay, so when you're out previewing property in the past, and you're out showing property in the past, has there ever been a time where you ran or you met up with, or there was somebody next door, like maybe the seller next door to the house that you were showing, kind of peeked his head out the window and was curious about that property? Did that ever happen to you where you kind of talk with that person? Or maybe when you're putting the lockbox in and you look over down the street and the car starts to slow down and you wave at them and they wave at you. Have you guys ever done that kind of stuff? Has there ever been a time where you actually picked up a client that way?
Yes.
Picked up clients that way, right? So let me ask you a question. If you went and saw 275 houses and you previewed the house, so now you have product knowledge of 275 houses, okay, which would be way more than the average real estate agent has seen in 55 days. Trust me on this one. Way more, okay? And while you were there, previewing property or watching what was going on down the street, do you think you could pick up some leads in the next 55 days by doing that activity? Could you make 1 sale or 2 sales from doing that? Is it possible? 1, 2, 3? Talk to me, everybody. Is there a number? 2, 1? Okay, I'll take 1. I'll take 1. All right, so now I went to the expireds, I previewed the properties. All right, you're gonna love this one. I've spent time and energy getting to the property, the preview or the expired, in gas and my time, right? Say yes. Yes. All right, so now that's 275 houses and 275 expireds. That's 550 properties I've gone to. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to door knock 10 houses around each one of those. That's 5,500 door knocks. 5,500 door knocks. Not people yet, that's just door knocks in the next 55 days. Now let's assume, again, 30% of those people are home. That means you're going to talk to 1,650 people over the next 55 work days. Question. If you talk to 1,650 people, would you make some sales or create some listings that are saleable?
Yes.
Sorry? Yeah. Yeah. That's my thinking. So 1 deal, 2 deals, 5, 1,600 people, okay? 10 deals. Mike? 10? You think 10? 10, 10? Okay. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is, because I have a little experience in this, I'm going to say 5. All right? I would, please, I want 10. Okay? I don't want to limit you. But 1,650 properties. Now, talk about past client and sphere of influence. a statistic that we know. We've proven this over and over again. If you will do these 3 activities with your past client and sphere, if you will email them weekly, which means in some cases you're going to have to go get their email addresses. If you will mail something to them monthly, just listed, just sold, something like that, something, snail mail, and you call them every other month, you do those 3 activities, and you do that over a 12-month period of time, you will get 10% of the number of past client and sphere as business, either directly or indirectly. So if you have 100 people in your past client and sphere base, and you did what I said over 12 months, you'll end up with 10 transactions if you do this right. Does this make sense? You guys with me? I've proven this over and over and over and over again, all right? So this is a number you do this, you'll get that. Now, but I only have 55 days right now. So what I want you to do is I'd like you to call all your past client and sphere, because you probably haven't talked to them in a while, because most real estate agents don't, okay? So call them all and tell them about the great market and the great opportunities that we have. We have interest rates, ladies and gentlemen, in the 3s. We have prices on properties that are 50% of what they were 6 years ago. And we've got a good inventory. I was in a market in, I forgot, 03 or 04, 05, whatever the something O. It wasn't in the 18s, it was in the, where we had, in Walnut, as an example, 8 houses for sale. And today we have 70. In Covina, there was 12 houses for sale. You had a buyer. You had a great buyer. You don't remember this, Mike. He was a great buyer. And it didn't matter because there was nothing to sell them. Today, you've got good inventory. You've got 6,000, 7,000 houses that are available in the 22 cities that we track. There's about 6,800 houses that are actually active at any given time right now. That's a good amount of properties to be able to go. It was as low as about 450 at one time at the lowest point in terms of active listings. That's a horrible marketplace to work in. Call those people. Tell them what's going on. You know, one of the scripts that we use today in our office, it's a just sold script. Works really well. If you guys want, you can email me later. I'll get you a copy of it. It's a modification of a Mike Ferry script. But essentially, we track all the closings every month in the office, and we provide it for the agents. So let's say, I'm talking off the top of my head, in Glendora last month, there was, say, 48 properties that closed escrow in all of Glendora in the month of, September. And because our computer system is set up that way, you can tell how many of those sold for list price and above. So here's the script. You know, you call a past client, friend, say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, hadn't talked to you in a while, just wanted to touch base, let you know what's going on in the marketplace. I don't know if you knew this or not. 44 houses actually sold in your city, closed escrow. And you know, the really good part is that 18 of them sold for list price and above. Did you know that? And of course, they're generally going to say, no, I thought the market's terrible. I thought things were really not selling. Yeah, absolutely. And we know when stuff like that starts to happen, 5 or 6 more are going to sell right away. So I was kind of curious. When do you folks plan on moving? Easy script. Great conversation. Yeah, we're not planning on moving. Fantastic. You know, on a regular basis, I want to be sending out some emails and some information about what's going on in the marketplace. Can I get your email address, update your cell number? You get that information in, you put it in, and then, you stay in touch with them. Easy, easy phone call. Now, what if you called back all your past client and sphere right now and had that conversation with them, whether you have 10 people or 50 people or 500 people, doesn't matter. Just call them all in the next 55 days. First of all, they're going to really be thrilled about hearing from you. And the fact that you haven't talked to them in 6 years, don't worry about it, okay? They don't remember and you don't remember, all right? In fact, they probably think you're not even in the business and they're embarrassed to call you because they might want some information and they're embarrassed to even go look for you because they haven't heard from you, all right? They're embarrassed because they don't want to embarrass you because maybe you're out of the business, get it? So they're going to call you and they're going to say, hey, Susie, hey, Mary, hey, just checking in. We were thinking about selling our house and moving. We're retiring to Big Bear. And they don't want to hear you say, well, gee, I'm not in the business anymore. Okay? Because a lot of real estate agents are out of the business, right? Well, they know that. And if they haven't heard from you, what do they assume? So are you. Call and tell them, you're here. Hey, I'm here. Okay? Get excited about this business. This is a great business. I'm telling you, there's no other place on the planet where people can earn the kind of money we earn, can help people at the level we help them at. This is an amazing, amazing business without college educations, without any real background, without any real financial investment. I mean, if you wanted to open a dress store, and you wanted to open a dress store in a mall, you got to sign a big lease. You got to put yourself on the hook for 3 years, probably at $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month for the lease. You got to put inventory in the store, probably $50,000 to $150,000, depending on what you're doing, and the fixtures. And you can't run it yourself. No physical person can run it 24/7. You can't. So you need to have somebody that's going to help you in the store. So now you're going to have a little payroll, expenses, and stuff. We don't have that in this business. How much did it cost you to get your real estate license? How much did it cost you to be a member of the board? When you take a listing, it's not really inventory we're keeping up. Maybe we run a few ads or we do those kinds of things, but there's no money. We're not spending any money. The upside is gigantic in this business. Gigantic. So, we had 2 properties that were expired that we thought we could list and sell. We had 1 property we could probably do a deal with on the previewing, and you guys felt you could talk to 1,600 people and do 10 deals. I wrote down 5 deals. So that's 8 transactions in 55 work days. Now, will all of them close? No. Will half of them probably close? Yes. And the other half are going to fall over to January. So do the math on this. Okay? Do the math on this. 8 transactions, 55 days worth of work, times $8,000 gross per deal. I think in our office it's about $10,000 a deal. So $10,000 gross is 80 grand. So just a question. Just curious. Who here could use an extra 80 grand coming in over the next 3 months, 4 months? Hello? All of us could, right? Say yes. Come on. Tough crowd. Questions on anything we covered so far?
No.
Stop. Questions on anything? Everybody's got this. Just for a minute.